Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the I Don't Know Running podcast, where we share our experiences that make running fun and sometimes not so fun. I'm Lewis, and I'm a self-admitted lazy ultra runner who was trying to come up with something as I was saying that because I realized I didn't have anything.
You're trying to be clever.
I had something with taking the dog for a walk in downtown Zeeland. On that.
I think that's good. Nailed it. I'm Mitch, and I'm walking.
You are. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. When you opened the door and I heard thump, thump.
definitely a peg leg.
Yeah.
I still have the scooter. I take it to work, but I had to clarify the last appointment when they took the splint off and gave me a boot to wear.
Yeah.
I was sure I was going to get a cast. Everybody I've talked to that's had the surgery had a cast for like a month at least. And mine, they put a boot on. And they said, you can put weight on it. You can walk on it a little bit. I'm like, hey, you sure? And then...
Did you say that's not what Google told me?
Right. And then Tammy and I were like talking about it after. She's like, well, you still can't walk on it. I'm like, they said I can. So I took it easy the rest of that week and through the weekend. And then I sent a message on my chart. That's an amazing thing. And they said, no, you can add a little bit every day. You have to wear the boot though. So now at work, I've been going to work, taking my scooter. If I get up to go use the bathroom or something, I'll walk.
Oh my gosh. I can't imagine this. When you first start taking steps with no boot, it's probably going to
feels weird.
Have you put weight on it with no boot on?
No, not at all.
Does it feel weird with the boot even?
It does. Without the boot, it feels really fragile. That scares me.
Man.
And that incision's not all the way healed yet.
Yeah. Boy, it's going to be a process. I'm glad you didn't sign up for New York.
Somebody sent me the link and told me I should.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what if I get in?
Of course you would.
Yeah,
of course you would.
That's when I would get in.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer. You would get in here.
Hey, I'd have a chance, right? What is it?
Yeah, there's only 200,000 people that put in for it.
And that's a record.
That was a record. This year's participants, 200,000 people signed up for the New York City Marathon. This marks a 22% increase from 2024. 22% there's already a boatload of people, and it went up by 22%.
Well, we've already talked about this on the podcast, but Chicago had a record amount of participants this year too, or this past year. More people are running.
Yeah, for sure.
There's more people racing.
This says, despite the large number of applicants, this kind of blows my mind, but it also kind of makes sense. Only 2 to 3% will be selected from the general draw. 2 to 3%.
Plus, yeah, because they have qualifiers for that too.
You have guaranteed, yeah.
So that's crazy.
Oh my goodness. Wow. So it's a good thing you didn't put it in for that, even though chances are you have almost a guarantee because you almost are sure you wouldn't be able to run it, at least not the way you would want.
I think there's a chance I could be ready. Ish, I'd be able to suck it out, but I just don't want to put that pressure on. There's no way.
You don't want to put that pressure, but you also want,
heal.
For a race like that, you would want to go and do it at least
feel
you
good. You
don't want to suffer through it.
No.
You want to go and enjoy New York,
It'd be one thing if it was last year and I had signed up for it, I'd suffer through and I would have done it, but not.
Very different.
But knowing that I have issues.
Yeah.
No.
Well, my morning, the reason I was trying to figure out an intro is
does a dog poop in the woods?
Well, the dog does poop on the streets in Zeeland. So I just had a busy morning. I say a busy morning. Fridays are my off days. And usually that's when I schedule to take the dog in to the vet if he's got to go, and also go and get his nails done and all the fun stuff of pet ownership. And this time I was like, you know what? I'm going to take him through the streets of, Zeeland. It's not a very big town. And I just said, because I can park like where we have his nails done is like right downtown. So I just parked right there, and then I just walked him up and down. And the whole time, my only concern was I didn't want him peeing all over the doors and all over like the streets.
He pees on everything.
He pees on everything. He's a boy. And he was fine. And,
I do too. I walk down the road.
Oh, yeah. That's what guys do, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is mine. This is mine. This is mine. This is mine.
Take that.
Yeah. And then, and of course we walked by this one little patch of like bush. Thankfully, it's like just into March, and there was like nothing, and he squatched a poop, and doggone it, I left it. No, I didn't.
Oh my gosh!
Hey, I had you there.
Well, this is a good time to say, comment how angry that makes you that
was funny.
Left it.
I did not leave it. I picked it up, and it took forever because I usually double the bags. And so I couldn't get the stupid second bag. And once you've got the first one open and you've already grabbed the poop, you do not want to lick your fingers to like open the next bag. So it took me forever to like get the bag open.
That is the worst. I hate picking up poop.
I know.
I hate it.
And it's like right downtown Zeeland. So yeah, that was my morning. And then I got to go, I'm telling you what. So I had, like I said, I had busy. I was going to meet a friend for lunch, and I did. And I just have to say this has nothing to do with the podcast, but man, I had a buddy who got a Audi, Q8, I think it is. And it's the twin turbo V8 one. And he took me for a ride in it, and he did launch control with it. It's stupid fast. It is so fast.
That is one of my, it's running, bourbon, and cars. So it fits in what I like anyway.
So that was my lunch. I got to go. We had said, hey, let's meet up for some lunch. And so we did, and holy smokes, man, that was fast. So fast. It was so cool.
Like scary?
Just like you felt it. You know what I mean? It sits you in your seat, and it's an all-wheel drive. So it
just launched.
It just goes. Anyway, that's not what this podcast is about, but that was my morning, was dog poop and fast rides in fast cars. And here we are.
You got up to 55 and
of course.
Right.
Yeah. It was just getting there quick.
Yeah.
But we are going to talk about so New York had 200,000 participants want to get in. So running is continuing to boom, continuing to grow exponentially. And trail running specifically is doing the same. Trail running is on the rise, and we found some stats. We just want to go over some stats about trail running because it is set to be a key fitness trend in 2025 globally, not just here in the U.S. One of the studies we found was out of like Australia. I don't know what the one that we actually are going to cover is out of. I think, it's global. Actually, it's just a global study. That's right. It's global. But yeah, runrepeat.com if you want to. It's funny because I went to runrepeat.com to try and find this. I don't know how you would find this.
Oh.
Because it's actually like a shoe review website.
Huh.
And I actually searched state of running. Well, no, state of running is one of their studies. Anyway, you go to runrepeat.com, and they have a study that goes over the state of ultra running from 2020, right? 2020?
Yeah.
Oh, that was ultra running. We have two studies. Sorry, I had two studies going. This was the state of trail running in 2022. That is one of the studies. And we're just going to hit some high-level key conclusions from this study. And then we're also going to go to the state of ultra running from 2020, which kind of backs up some of the data that led into 2022 and showing us the trend that is also continuing through 23, 24, and is going to be an additional big boom in 2025.
Because you and I have both done a lot of trail running.
Yeah.
I have not done lately with just injuries and not wanting to, because, that's one of the things. If you trail run, you're going to fall down more.
Potentially.
Typically.
Yeah,
I do.
for sure.
I'm a klutz.
I have not fallen as much on the road as I have on the trail. Good point.
I have fallen on the road.
Yeah, but way more on the trail.
That hurts a lot more.
Yeah. So let's hit some key. These are some key results from the 2020, and then that'll lead us into the 2022 stats as well. Some key results this is again. State of ultra running in 2020. Again, from runrepeat.com. Key results. Key results. Female ultra runners are faster than male ultra runners at distances over 195 miles. And this is on an average.
On average.
This isn't like
you don't see a woman win.
They have
outright that often, but
not
they do
often. Yeah.
But you do see it. My favorite, Courtney has won the Moab 240 outright before.
Yeah.
Like early on.
Yeah. And she's not the only one. There are others that are winning big events at the longer distances.
And Ashley, she smaller race, but she won the 100K. The pistol.
Was that a pistol?
Yeah, she won the 100K one.
And that's a decent sized race. That's not a small race.
I think it's decent, but she was first
overall.
First overall.
Which always gives the commentators a little bit of it gives them a rough time because they're like, oh yeah, here's our first female. Oh wait, that's first overall. Never mind.
Yeah.
Also a female.
But on average, women are faster on average.
Yeah. It's a longer distance.
I think they're better. I think they're better at dealing with pain.
Yeah, quite possible.
Better at sucking it up.
Yeah. Participation has increased 1,676% in the last 23 years, from just 34,400 to 611,000 yearly participants.
And that's just in races.
Yeah.
That's people.
True. Yeah, that's true. And then a 345% increase in just the last 10 years. So continuing the boom, even in the last 10 years. More ultra runners are competing in multiple events per year. I mean, that's kind of like Yeah,
but that's interesting. I think that you see more people do multiple races in the trail running community than you do in road running. You talk to most road runners, or you go to your local running group, they do 1 or 2 races a year.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I'm going to do this one marathon.
Yeah.
And that's it. And I might, if you live in this area, I'm going to do the 25K too. But like the 25K, the riverbank is a given.
Yeah.
If you're living
in the area. Yeah.
But beyond that, it's like, well, I'm going to also run Grand Rapids Marathon, or I'm going to run Bayshore. And that's usually all they're going to do.
Yeah.
But if you talk to the trail running community,
I'm going to go out to Arizona. I'm going to run this. Then I'm going to go to Colorado and run this. Oh, and then I've got this other one, really cool, small 50K and such and such.
And then you get accused of the humble brag. Like, oh, you're just, that's what everybody's doing. I'm not the only one.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I mean, you think of they have, look at the Slam, Midwest Slam.
Right.
5 100-milers in a summer.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That's dumb.
It is.
I don't know who'd want to do that.
I don't know either. There have been more women in ultra running. 23% of the participants. Actually, that's grown. We'll hit another stat on the next one in 2022. Ultra runners have never been slower, just showing that they're increasing in speed. That kind of makes sense. Some of these stats. Let's jump to the 2022. That's got the obviously the more recent. And I think somebody just came in from outside. That's Rowdy. He just came barreling into the studio. All right, so here is the state of ultra running in 2022, and some of these stats are going to blow your mind. As mentioned, so this continues the trend, although down. So over the last 2 years, what's he doing?
Sniffing it.
Yeah, I know.
I don't trust him.
Yeah. Trail running is continuing to grow at 231% over the last 10 years. So if you remember, I just said 365% over the last 10 years if we go back 2 years. So still continuing to boom, but not at the same rate as 2 years ago. Despite the strong comeback in race participation, 2022 has had 15% fewer finishers than in 2019. Again, this is COVID related. We kind of talked about that. Kind of got to throw out a couple of years there. And then this is where I think it starts to get interesting. Races are getting longer than ever. The 5K distance used to account for 75% of all races, and we're talking trail running. Now it accounts for only 45%. The trail races on average are 24.63 kilometers long, or 25K.
Right. And a lot of the 5Ks are, I'm curious if they're including like cross country.
Yeah.
Because that's the big distance in cross country, right?
Yeah, because when we go to races, we don't see a 5K that often. There are. Dirty Berg would be one. Do they have a 5K?
I thought they only had a 10K.
10K.
Because it's a 10K loop.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Probably.
So they only,
Yeah, I don't know that many that have a 5K, although there's got to be, as it shows. Interesting, they follow up that the trail races are on average 24.63 kilometers long, which is 140% longer than road race average.
That's wild.
So yeah, trail
runners aren't lazy.
They aren't lazy.
Well, they're beer drinkers though, typically.
Maybe. So are road runners though. Maybe, yeah, it does have maybe a different.
Well, you have, beer stops.
True, some of them, yeah. Yeah, races are getting bigger. So here it says in 1984, 72% of all runners finished a race with less than 500 participants. Today, that number is just 12%. So the races are growing.
So you think about that, obviously. Western states, like it's every year it gets harder and harder to get into.
Yeah, yeah.
And at one time, you think you looked up, started in 74.
Yeah.
So I'm sure anybody that wanted to run it, that knew about it, could pretty much run it.
Yeah. Prior to 84. And I think it was, I think I talked to Roger Bonga about this. He said, or maybe Brian even said, when the lottery started there.
No, we didn't look up that stat.
No, I didn't look that up. But at any rate, yeah, I think that's a staggering stat. 72% of all runners finish a race with less than 500 participants, whereas today that number is just 12%. And we talked about it. We've ran in races that are less than 500 participants. So there's still a ton of races. And if you go down,
especially in this area, but 100 milers, they cap it. You don't see that many people on a 100 miler.
No. And some of the big ones, when you think of so a big 100 miler is like 300.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think Javelina's a bigger one, and that had like maybe that one actually is more than that even, like 350 maybe, or 375.
Maybe. I know Western States is just over 300.
Yeah. So it's not, and that's a lot of 100 milers.
But that's a lot of people out there. You think most of them have a crew.
Yeah, true.
Average crew size to, 3 to 4 people.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a lot of people out there in the woods at that time.
Yeah, true. Trail running races have 91% fewer participants per race compared to road running races. So while the races are getting bigger, they're still smaller than road races, which makes sense. But this is interesting. So I just read the stat. Races are getting bigger. In 1984, 72% of all runners finished a race with less than 500. Today, it's just 12%. So here's another interesting stat. Small races, less than 500 participants, have grown by 629% in the last 10 years. Whereas big races have grown by 5,052% in the same time period.
Well, you look at some of the, like Javelina.
Yeah.
That sells out right away.
Yeah. Talk about caps and things like that.
I think Black Canyon sells out is quicker. It's selling out quicker. It used to be able to
a few days, or maybe even a week.
Yeah.
And now I don't even know if you get that. But we have talked about that. I believe one of the reasons that sells out so fast, well, I mean, I'm not going to put the rate.
It's a qualifier.
It's a qualifier, and it's after the lottery drawing. So they draw
usually, like if it's open before Western States drawing is done, it closes within.
Well, I think it is.
Yeah, but I'm saying if there's still
well, usually it is
openings. Yeah,
usually it is. Usually it'll be open,
but then it's closed after that.
And then the lottery happens. Everybody finds out if they made it in. Oh, I didn't make it in. Going to Black Canyon because it's a 100K qualifier. You get to save yourself 40 miles.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's amazing again how much races are growing, the size of races are growing, the number of races, small races have grown 629%. That's crazy. The pace difference between men and women decrease as the distance increases. We kind of talked about that, as women are faster at the longer distances. This is kind of an interesting stat. It doesn't really it's just a stat. The world's fastest countries as follows by distance: 5K is Spain, 10K is Slovakia, half marathon is Portugal, marathon is Switzerland. I mean, I suppose that could potentially change.
And that's on
year.
average, because
that's on average, yeah. Trail runners have never been older, with an average of 39.5 years old. We'll hit that stat. I think it's 34 or something like that from 10 years ago.
We helped that stat.
Yeah, we do. I guess I got to run a race, though, don't I, to keep helping the stat. Female participation has grown. This is an interesting stat. From 13% in 1997 to 46% in 2022. So they're almost half of the runners now in 2022, as of 2022. And men are generally attracted to the longer distances, whereas women tend to favor the shorter distances, which is odd because they're faster in the longer distance.
Mm-hmm. They could dominate if they started doing all the long distances.
Yeah. And 3 countries have more female runners than male participation, and that is Canada, New Zealand, and Argentina. A couple other just really kind of interesting facts or takeaways from this study. For every 1 trail runner, there are 5.3 road runners.
Yeah.
So if you're in a group of 6, there's usually 1 that is going to be a trail runner out of the 6.
Well, I laugh.
I guess it'd be out of...
Because if you run with Karen, she tries to talk everybody into trail running. Hey, I got
Does
an idea.
she?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Oh, good. That's good. She's part of the reason these stats are growing.
The other side of that, she won't run on the roads. She
won't?
She feels like she's dying as she runs on the roads.
See, I guess here's the thing. Would she run bike path?
No.
She won't. It's got to be dirt.
Yeah.
See, and I don't know. I think there are very nice paved trails.
Yeah.
I don't think it needs to be dirt. She's
a snob.
A trail snob. She's a trail running snob.
For sure.
Interesting, in the past 20 years, trail running has grown by 2,394%. Again, a staggering number of people getting into trail running. And it has the same dip in 2020 as everything. Everything.
I would like to see the stats that if it's just that many people, if road running is increasing by as much. I would think, for the 20 year, I would say no. Like the percentage of trail runners by far.
Yeah.
But I'd say in the last 2 years, are they taking stats away from road running? I don't know.
Yeah, I'd be curious. Yeah, I bet. I mean,
but there's a lot.
Think about a lot of what we have went through in our running journey. You usually start on the road, and then somebody in the group, one out of the five, is a trail runner.
It was Brian that kind of started that, right?
Yeah, I would say so.
He was the first one to do a 100-miler.
Yeah. Yeah, because Jim didn't, Jason hadn't. I'm just thinking of like the Wednesday night crew that I knew.
Right.
And then Brian.
Because you all signed up for the 50-miler and he showed up for the 100.
Yeah, we knew he was doing the 100. But I certainly wasn't signing up for that. I didn't even know what I had no clue. I was clueless about running at that time. Interesting, the most popular distance. So this is again, I think this is really neat. And the change. The most popular distance, now this is on average, we kind of talked about this. The 5K trail race is by far the most popular distance in trail running. It accounts for 17% of the race finishers. The second most popular being the 10K. Now, I think that's just introductory, or as we talked about, like cross-country running, whatever. It's interesting, though, that there's such a change in that the distances are getting longer. In 2000, more than 75% of all races were 5K races. In the following 21 years, so up to 2022, that trend slowly decreased to be only 45% being 5K. So that's a big drop, which means, and in those same years, think of how many more people have come into trail running, and the distances are just getting so much longer.
It's just, like, I don't know if you've ever gone to West Michigan Trail Runners, if you've run with that group ever before.
Out at Robinson?
Yeah, like you go to...
Robinette, sorry.
Robinette's.
That's
or like on Saturdays, any of the...
No, not Saturdays.
So...
I've went out to Robinette's a few times, not specifically...
But Robinette's, you're doing 6 miles if you're doing anything, it seems like. Most people are.
That's a loop.
Yeah. And
that's a loop, right? Out there? Yeah.
And on Saturdays, like when we'd go to... Canonsburg or the state game area.
Yeah.
And then... I think it's about 8 miles, 7.5 mile loops. We do 3 or 4 loops.
Yeah.
I feel like you're, one loop. That's like,
that's barely getting started.
Like that. Wait, why'd you drive all the way out here for that?
Yeah. Yeah. It is interesting. And I don't know if it has to do with, one of the things they do talk about is the mental health aspect of trail running. And there is something to get into nature. You know what I mean? Like,
I always think about that, but I don't look up when I'm running. Like I'm staring at the ground. It's not like you're...
Well, but looking up, but you're surrounded by nature.
Yeah.
So there is that. But I will say this.
You get to poop in the woods.
You get to poop in the woods.
That's great.
Whether the bear hears it or not.
Right. or the tree falls.
Or the tree falls. Something. One of the two. I will say this. When I, through the years running, when I run down the road, my normal routes, you have to drown out the noise in some way. I do a lot of my running solo. And so I'll listen to a book or I'll listen to music or whatever. And if I don't necessarily mind hearing things. I like the stimulation of everything, right? All the senses. And so hearing being one of those. But it is very different than when I run. I never wear anything for music or
Pants?
anything. Pants, yes.
Okay.
When I run in the woods. And it is so peaceful.
Yeah.
It is so peaceful to get away from the road.
And you got to hear those bikes sneaking up on you too.
Yeah. Well, yes. They're pretty good. Where I run, they're pretty good about giving a heads up or a honk or whatever. So I think that is a huge part of it. And think about it too, as you enter into your running journey,
more often than not, you're running out your door.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you're getting started into running, things like that.
But you get to run trails here.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
So you're a mile from the trailhead.
But I completely forgot what I was.
Oh, sorry. I cut you
No,
off.
it wasn't you. In the short time that I had made that, I had already forgot where I was going with it. But there was somewhere I was going with that.
It's weird.
Was it just a natural journey takes you on the road usually?
Yeah. Yeah.
And your next usual step is like experimenting with a trail or something like that. So yeah, anyway, look out in 2025. There will be what seems to be a continued boom trend of trail running.
And if you live in our area, there is a ton. I mean, Canonsburg, you got Dirtyburg, you got Yankee Springs. I mean, there's a lot of stuff to sign up for.
There's a lot of there are a lot of races. Yep. There are a lot of areas you can, but as we discussed before, it's nothing like out west.
No, I know.
I mean, my goodness. They are spoiled out there. Could you imagine living around like, let's say like the Western States area, all the trails you would get to run?
Well, that's why I laugh. I think, Jack and Laura, they love Colorado Springs.
Yeah, or out there. Yeah.
It was funny when she first moved out there, she bought this duplex that was in, one of the units was definitely in disrepair. Like she thought she was going to stay there the first night. She had to get a hotel when she moved out there and had to gut that unit. So she got so far on redoing it, she hired a handyman and she just gutted it and redid that whole thing. It looks awesome now. But it's funny, I went out there with my daughter not long after that and we stayed with her and she had basically stopped and she had this big map on the wall and she had a highlighter and she was highlighting all the trails that she had hit.
Oh my goodness. That's awesome.
Because I think about that, like in Colorado Springs, like, hey, the Bar Trail, it goes up Pikes Peak. She's like, I hardly ever go on that one.
She doesn't need to.
I don't, there's so many more. And I think Jack would say the same thing.
Yeah.
There's so much more than that.
Yeah. Yeah. I wish, and I mean, I do wish we had more. We do have a lot available to us. It's not the same. It's very different. But I do appreciate the ones we do have. And that's the other thing, I guess, that is worth saying. Very appreciative of the people that put in the time to make those trails around here because most of that is just volunteer. Mm-hmm. There's not this big money tree that pays people to put these trails in.
True. There is a lot of donations that go into that that you can donate, but I don't think the money is the problem. It's people that are doing the work.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, that's interesting though too, that we have the North Country Trail that goes through Michigan. How often do you get on the North Country Trail?
No, I know. Not very often, but we got to go way east.
Yeah.
And for us, we got to go way east and south because I don't know where it heads to the west, but it's not close to us. It's Yankee. For us, it's the closest is Yankee.
Yeah.
Because that's all North Country.
I know it goes up through Manistee and...
Yeah, but by then, I mean, that's so far away.
And it goes up across the bridge and it goes up in the UP from there. And then it goes across and over into
Minnesota and Wisconsin. And I think it ends in Minnesota.
I think it's longer than AT, actually.
It is. It starts in like Pennsylvania or something.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So anyway, look for the big boom trend in 2025. Be sure to like, subscribe, share. But that is going to wrap up this week's episode of the I Don't Know Running podcast. Be sure to tune in next time as we share more about what we just don't know.
Until then, happy running.